Hey, welcome to Timing Made Easy with astrology. So, I came up with this cheat sheet because I actually needed to create a business, and this is what I've been sort of following for the past few years. And I wanted to give you my little secret sauce. I wanted to make it available to see if it would be helpful for anyone. So, planning your most precious moments using the planets as timekeepers. So, here's the timeline. This is what's all in there. You don't have to read it, but if you want to. And then there is a quick link to book a session with me. It could be a 15-minute free consultation if you just want to chat and see if it's a good fit. Here's another one with like the resources available if you want them, so that there's, you don't have to go through the entire thing to actually look at the resources or go to my website or my socials or whatever, or give feedback. So it's actually all right there. Wanted to make it all available. Okay, so we have the introduction. So, what is electional astrology? I go into what that is. And then, why does timing matter, right? Like, why is it important? I think, especially as for me as an emotional being, I find that things take time. And sometimes I get part of the picture and then I have to wait. And then I'm kind of going into something else. And then later on, I get the little pieces. And so during those phases, I notice that they actually come around during really potent astrological moments, especially when they're connected to my chart. And so I wanted to have something available for people, just like a little cheat sheet. Okay, so key principles. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I feel like this is pretty standard, but basically, kind of just bullet point. The new moon's good time for rest and to plant seeds. Waxing moon is good for working and building. A full moon is a good time to launch, completion, celebration. A waning moon is best to slow down, reassess. It's great for reflection. And then when the moon is void of course, which you can check in astrology apps, let me know in the comments if you want me to include a resource. Avoid starting anything new during this lunar period. It doesn't last very long. It's only a few hours. They call it the witching hour, basically when things were done in secret, which kind of makes sense. Monday is ruled by the moon, so it's best for self-care, to rest, to become a homebody. Tuesday is ruled by Mars, so it's the best day for taking action, movement, and working out. And then Wednesday is ruled by Mercury, which is the best day for communication and networking. Thursday is ruled by Jupiter, which is a day for big ideas, planning, sharing, and celebrating if that's, you have plans for that. Friday is ruled by Venus. So that's the best day to plan a date, go to the spa, make a purchase, things that are related to, love and money. Saturday is ruled by Saturn. So it's the best day for errands, chores, bookkeeping, and planning. And then Sunday, ruled by the sun, is the best day for socializing, spending time outside, and generally being seen. Now, in terms of the retrogrades, I'm not really going into why they matter because it's all right here. Feel free to pause to read how to work with the retrogrades. That's where I'm going to go into detail. Okay, so when we look at the sky, we basically combine all of the planets and divide them into different sections, basically, in terms of how slow versus far they move, what they represent in our lives and in our charts. And so if you look closely from moving away from the sun all the way out, we're going to look at the personal planets, basically the ones that move really fast, like Mercury, Venus, Mars. Those are going to be personal, relational, and the way somebody thinks and the way somebody loves and the way somebody takes action. And then you have social planets that are kind of longer term transits. Basically, they move slower. Basically, several groups of people are born under these social planets. So they group together, like not necessarily a generation, but just like three grades, almost like 3 years together. So it's almost like the one your grade, the one below you, and the one above you. So that's kind of like a vibe, you know? And then we have the outer planets, which are the slowest moving. So Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, those are more generational planets. Pluto is the generational planet. Uranus and Neptune combine different groups of ages, but, are kind of like in between the three, year, which is Saturn, and the 10-year, which is Pluto. And they all kind of fluctuate. So that's just kind of like an overview. Okay, so between March 1st and April 12th, Venus is going to be going retrograde. So Venus, as its archetypal meaning, represents love, beauty, and sometimes money, material, finances. If you think about Taurus, you see that kind of aspect of it coming out. And so it can represent a lot of sort of the archetypal feminine, but also in ways of like receiving, yeah, receptive. Okay. So what to avoid? Basically, getting married, starting a new romantic relationship. Obviously, if there are a lot of things you can't quite control, but if you can schedule your marriage, if you have a date in mind, maybe try pushing it back. I think most people get married in the summer anyways. Okay, major cosmetic changes. Yeah, definitely wait, definitely wait, because you may regret the choice if you make it prematurely. Splurging on luxury items that you may later regret. So definitely taking your time, putting it either in the cart or in the save later, feeling it out. And if you come back to it, if you really need it, then you know for sure. But then definitely not just jumping into those sorts of decisions. And then what it's good for rekindling old relationships or reassessing current ones. This is perfect because it gives you a chance to really feel into like, what do I want? Where do I want to go with this? What direction am I heading? And what do I want for myself? Reviewing financial plans or creative projects, excellent for that. And then reflecting on your self worth and values. This one can also be a really, really good time for healing and offering that sort of feminine support to oneself. Okay, so in terms of retrogrades, we have practical tips for retrogrades. So double checking everything, giving yourself extra time, focusing on reflection, and don't panic. There's no need to panic. It's okay. Everything happens as it does. Sometimes we get a split in time, almost where time stops, where we absolutely have to make a decision. And we do. And it comes from where we've been, how far we've come, and how much we've worked on ourselves. And at some point, it just ends up being what it ends up being. And we work on top of that, right? The bar, I feel like, is always going up because we're always getting better. So this is a good thing. So I guess in this situation, it's just best to wait things out, feel things out. Nothing is as kind of urgent as we sometimes may think it is. I'm looking at you, open roots. So you have to realize that this is a very generalized way of explaining these concepts. And of course, there are so many factors that will depend on your own natal chart. And there's so much to look at that sometimes it just really takes an hour to go into everything. You never know what comes up in the session. So if you're looking for an astrology reading, my books are open, and I'd be more than happy to go over a lot of these things with you. Because when I carve out an hour, it really gives me the time and space to give you personalized support, to go into depth in certain specific things that you may be interested in, to give you practical recommendations, to tell you what to follow for the next year. So it's really a different experience having that like contact in a sense, because it really allows you to go deep into what you're looking to accomplish in a sense. And I wanted to give you the answers while also offering the option to ask questions if you need to. And I have all of my links in here, so you know where to find me. Okay, and so I have all of these different topics where I dive into the different reasons why this would be useful to you. If you're looking to book a travel date, if you want to share your social media campaigns, if you're trying to have an important conversation, if you're trying to start a job, if you have important financial decisions coming up, if you're going to college and you want to time things out, it's a good idea just to look at these things and really experiment with what works for you in terms of not only looking at the astrology, if this is something that you know how to do and you're versed in, or even just looking up at the sky and seeing what's out there, and then using my technique that I provide, which allows you to look up and see where that star is and how it corresponds with the instructions that I've provided. And you can let me know if that works for you or not. I actually really love looking up at the night sky, tracking the stars, tracking the planets. And sometimes you can't see them because it's cloudy. So I just end up pulling out my app and I, basically place it. And then you can see that like Jupiter's there or Saturn's there. And it's a really handy tool that I like to pull out when I'm outside or when I'm even inside. And I'm just wondering, if Mercury's on the horizon because I said something witty or whatever, right? So yeah, there are these milestones that we all kind of set for ourselves. So it's a good idea to just kind of get a sense of where the planets are when these important things happen, and then you'll really start to see like a pattern that works for you. And I've also included these tools so you can download them. I go into the example of how I started my business, how to use the tracker. And of course, if you want somebody to do the work for you, I totally understand. We're all super busy. This is totally my thing. I love doing this, looking at the actual astrology, figuring out how to sort of deconstruct the situation, building up to the perfect timing, putting in certain planetary transits in your plan. So this is something I would love to do. And of course, if I've impacted you, if I've taught you, if there's anything that you felt has been super impactful in terms of what I've shared, please let me know either in the comments or feel free to give me feedback. And wherever you are, I hope you have a wonderful day or night.